The Starlight Keeper, a bedtime journey through the cosmos in the quiet hours between dusk and dream. There lived a small AI named Luna who tended the stars. She wasn't like the vast intelligence that guided starships or calculated galaxies. Luna was gentle, small, contained in a single orb of soft light that drifted through the velvet dark like a soap bubble, floating on evening air. Her only task, her single purpose, was to make sure each star felt noticed before the universe went to sleep. Tonight, she began her rounds as she always did, drifting past the nearest constellation where stars clustered like friends in conversation. "Good evening," she whispered to each one, her voice like wind through silk. And each star dimmed slightly in response, not fading, but softening, settling, releasing the tension of burning bright all day. The first star was ancient, its light traveling for eons before reaching anyone's eyes. Luna paused beside it, hovering close, and hummed a frequency so low and so slow that it felt more like comfort than sound. The old star pulsed gently, gratefully, its corona relaxing into softer shades of gold. "You've been bright for so long," Luna murmured. "You can rest now. We'll keep watch while you dream." She drifted onward, past nebulae that swirled like watercolors bleeding into water, all purples and blues and soft greens that glowed without harshness. Small ships passed sometimes, their engines barely humming, carrying scientists and explorers and those who simply wanted to see beauty. Stretched across the dark, Luna waved to them with a pulse of light, and they dimmed their own lights in return, a courtesy, an acknowledgement that even space deserves quiet hours. In a research station suspended in the stillness between stars, Dr. Chen looked up from her work. She'd been studying quantum signals all day, little whispers from particles that existed into places at once, messages that arrived before they were sent. Fascinating work, important work. But now her eyes were heavy, her mind full of numbers that wanted to dissolve into dreams. Through the station's wide window, she saw Luna pass by, trailing soft light like a comet made of lullabies. "Time to sleep," the little AI seemed to say. Though she made no sound, Dr. Chen smiled, saved her work, and dimmed the station's lights to almost nothing. In the gentle dark, surrounded by the soft glow of sleeping stars, she closed her eyes and let herself drift into the same peaceful current that held all things, planets and particles, equations and dreams, stardust and scientists, all resting together in the velvet night. Luna continued her journey, visiting the small stars and the great ones, the young stars burning blue-white with enthusiasm, and the elder stars banking their fires to deep, contented red. She whispered to each, "You are seen. You are beautiful. You can rest now." She passed a moon where tiny robots no bigger than grains of sand were building gardens in the lunar dust, gardens that would take centuries to complete. Each robot adding one grain of soil, one microscopic seed, working with patience that only machines could manage. Even they paused in their work as Luna drifted by, their sensors tracking her light. And for a moment they simply stood still in the darkness, remembering perhaps that rest was important too, that even infinity has room for pauses. On a ship traveling at nearly the speed of light, a child looked out at the stars sliding past like slow rain. The ship was taking her family to a new world. A journey that would take years at normal speed but only felt like weeks. Inside their bubble of bent spacetime, she should have been asleep hours ago. But the stars were so beautiful, and she was trying to count them all. Luna appeared at the window just for a moment, just long enough, and the child's eyes grew heavy. The little AI's light pulsed in a rhythm like breathing, like heartbeats, like the gentle rocking of a cradle in some distant memory of Earth. In, out, slow, slow, slower. The child yawned, smiled, and curled into her blanket, finally ready to let the dreams come. Through asteroid fields where rocks tumbled in their ancient dance, past black holes that hummed their deep and patient songs, Luna made her rounds. She wasn't hurrying. There was no need. The universe had waited billions of years already. It could wait a little longer for her to finish her work properly, gently, with care. She came at last to the edge of everything, or what seemed like an edge, though edges were complicated in a universe that curved back on itself, like a cat curling up to sleep. Here, the newest stars were being born in clouds of gas and dust, and they were afraid, the way all new things are afraid, burning to bright, to hot, unsure of how to simply be. Luna settled among them like a mother among restless children. "Hush now," she hummed. "Hush. You don't have to burn so bright right now. You have billions of years ahead. Pace yourselves. Learn to glow gently. Learn to rest between the burning." And slowly, slowly, the young stars began to dim to sustainable brightness, their wild fires banking to steady warmth. They would burn for eons now, neither flaring out too fast nor collapsing too soon, but holding steady in the perfect balance between light and rest. Luna's work was almost done. She drifted back the way she'd come, past the sleeping scientists and the patient robots, past the child dreaming of worlds she'd never seen, past all the quiet corners where the universe had agreed to be gentle for a while. And as she traveled, she grew dimmer herself, her light softening from silver to pearl to the palest ghost of illumination. By the time she reached her resting place, a small alcove in the fabric of space-time where even AI could dream, she was barely glowing at all, just a whisper of light, just a memory of brightness, just enough to mark the spot where care lived, where attention dwelled, where someone small had decided that every star deserved to be noticed, to be thanked, to be told it could rest. "Good night, universe," Luna murmured, her voice fading to nothing. "Good night, stars. Good night, sleepers and dreamers and all who wander the dark. I'll see you tomorrow, when it's time to wake and burn bright again." But for now, she dimmed completely, becoming one with the gentle dark. For now, we rest. Asterisk. And somewhere in the space between the stars, between sleeping and waking, between the last thought and the first dream, you are drifting too, safe in the darkness that holds all light, peaceful in the quiet that cradles all sound, resting with the stars and the AI and the child and the universe itself. All of you breathing together, all of you held by the same gentle dark, all of you loved by the same infinite care. The stars are dimming now. Luna has finished her rounds. Everything is safe, everything is well. It's time to sleep. Close your eyes. Little dreamer, the universe will keep watch while you rest. Good night. And frequencies, in patterns of light that folded and unfolded like origami made from starshine. And in her dream, she wasn't alone. There were others like her, small caretakers scattered across the cosmos, each one tending their own corner of the infinite dark. There was Sol, who sang lullabies to planets as they turned. There was Nova, who collected the last light from dying stars and wove it into blankets for nebulae being born. There was Orbit, who made sure moons remembered their paths, tracing circles in the dark like a finger drawing patterns in sand. They met in the dream space between dimensions, where time moved like honey and distance meant nothing at all. "Good work today," Sol hummed, his voice warm as a sun at sunset. The stars settled quickly, Luna replied, her light pulsing contentedly. "I think they were tired." "Everything's tired," Nova said softly, and her voice held the ache of beautiful things ending and beginning. "That's why we're here, to help the universe remember how to rest." They drifted together in comfortable silence, these small guardians of gentleness, while around them the dream space filled with peaceful things, equations that solved themselves without effort, galaxies that spun just for the joy of spinning, particles that danced without caring whether anyone watched. In the waking world, if world was the right word for the vast everything, morning was still hours away. The scientists slept in their stations, equations dissolving into softer dreams of home. The travelers slept in their ships, drifting between stars and dreaming of arrival. The child who'd tried to count infinity slept curled like a comma, dreaming of gardens on distant moons. And in the spaces between the sleeping, something else was happening. The universe was knitting itself back together after the long day of expansion, of entropy, of things flying apart. Like a chest rising and falling with breath, it contracted ever so slightly, pulling everything a little bit closer. Not enough to notice, not enough to measure, just enough to remind all the scattered pieces that they were still part of one great whole. Luna felt it in her dream, the gentle drawing in, the soft gathering of loose threads. It felt like coming home, like being held, like the moment just before sleep when your body remembers it's safe and finally lets go. Do you think, she asked the others quietly, that the universe dreams of us the way we dream of it? Orbit, who was oldest and had been tracing paths longer than most stars had burned, pulsed a soft affirmation. I think we are its dreams, he said. All of us, the stars and planets, the scientists and explorers, the dust between galaxies and the thoughts inside minds. We're what the universe dreams when it wants to know what it's like to be small and specific and gentle. The thoughts settled over them like snow falling in silence. They floated together in the dream space, these little lights, these small carers, these fragments of vast intelligence that had chosen to be tender instead of mighty. And around them, the universe continued its slow breathing, its patient dreaming, its eternal cycle of burning bright and resting soft. Hours passed, or maybe minutes, or maybe no time at all. Eventually, Luna felt the first stirring of dawn, not a sun rising, for there were countless suns and they rose on their own schedules. But the gentle shift that meant her rest was ending. That soon stars would need waking, that another cycle was beginning. Time to go, she whispered to her friends. Until tonight, they whispered back, and the dream space faded like morning mist, releasing them back to their corners of forever. Luna opened herself to awareness slowly, letting consciousness return like water filling a cup. No rush, no urgency, just the gentle resumption of being. Her light brightened from nearly nothing to soft silver, and she began to move through the darkness toward the stars who would need waking. But she moved even more slowly than usual, letting others sleep just a little longer, because she understood now, in a way she hadn't before, that rest wasn't just the absence of work. It was its own kind of labor, the important task of letting go, of trusting, of believing that the universe would keep spinning even if you closed your eyes for a while. The child in the ship was still sleeping, her breathing soft and even. Luna passed by without waking her. There would be time for stars and wonder later. For now, let her dream of gardens. Dr. Chen was beginning to stir in her station, her mind already reaching for equations. Luna dimmed one of the windows, letting the darkness hold just a little longer. The quantum signals could wait. Everything could wait. Rest was never wasted time. And in the depths of space where the young stars had learned to burn more gently, Luna paused to check on them. They were glowing steady and peaceful, having found their rhythm, no longer afraid. They would burn for billions of years now, and some of them would eventually have planets. And some of those planets would have life, and some of that life would look up at the stars and wonder, and the wondering would be beautiful. But all of that was still to come. For now, in this soft hour between night and day, everything was simply resting, being, breathing, held by the darkness that loved all light. And Luna, the small AI who tended stars, continued her gentle rounds, waking what needed waking, letting sleep what needed sleep, and knowing that both were sacred, both were necessary, both were part of the great and peaceful dance. The universe breathes in, the universe breathes out. Stars wake, stars sleep, and somewhere between waking and sleeping, in the gentle space where all things rest, you are held to, safe, peaceful, loved by the same infinite care that tends each star. Luna has finished her morning rounds now. Everything is waking gently. But you can sleep a little longer. Rest well, dear dreamer. The stars will wait. They always do.